What's going on, everyone? Ellis Sports back with another video. In this video, I'm going to be doing a video that I did about a year ago this time, and that's going to be my realistic dream scenario for the New York Giants in the 2022 NFL Draft. It's my quote-unquote dream scenario, but I'm going to keep it realistic. I'm going to try as best as I can to do that. But before I start, guys, just want to wish everyone a very happy New Year. As we're about an hour away. If you're a New York Giant fan, probably in New York, same time zone, Eastern time zone, about an hour away from 2022. So happy New Year to everyone, and I appreciate all you guys and all the support you give me in the channel. But let's get going in the video, starting off with pick number 5, and it's the offensive tackle from Alabama, Evan Neal. I mean, this guy is a beast. There's no doubt about it. He is an absolute beast. The only concern with Evan Neal is that the guy's, too huge. I mean, he is big. His weight is, it could be in a factor. It could be an area of concern. He weighs 360, 370. You never want your O-lineman to be too big, but I don't see an area of concern. A lot of Giants fans say, Evan Neal's too heavy, but I think the guy's unbelievable. He's far and away the best offensive tackle, the best offensive lineman in the draft. So for me, absolutely Evan Neal. If he's on the board at 5, you absolutely take him. He plays on the right side at tackle. Him and Andrew Thomas, that gives you a pretty damn good left tackle, right tackle duo. So for me, it's Evan Neal at number 5, and then at number 8, where we're scheduled to pick. All these picks, the position of picks, are obviously subject to change. I really don't think the Giants are going to win either of the last 2 games of the year, so I think they're going to stay at 5, maybe even move to 4. We'll see there. But the second pick we have is at number 8, and my dream scenario, which is realistic, would be to trade back, and find a team that is willing to move up to get a quarterback like a Kenny Pickett. And that could be the New Orleans Saints, who pick currently at 13. And the mock trade I made was the Giants trade 8 for 13 and a first-round pick in 2023. So you get an extra first-round draft pick, and that'll be a team playing with a rookie quarterback like the Bears pick. That's going to be a top 10 more than likely. So that would be very, very good if you can get an extra first-round pick for the future. And then with that 13th pick, the New York Giants could go one of 2 ways, and I'd be very happy with it. They could go Tyler Linderbaum, the center out of Iowa. This is a safe pick. The guy would solidify the center spot. Then you can move Nick Gates to left guard, and then you could realistically, you could draft a right guard later on. You can experiment Matt Peart there. Well, he's injured now, so maybe not. He's going to probably miss next year. There's a lot you could do. Isaiah Wilson, if he cooperates, you could put him at right guard. Maybe you move Shane Lemieux to right guard when he gets healthy. Who knows? There's a whole bunch of things the Giants could do. But if you take 2 offensive linemen relatively early in the first 2 rounds, which I think the Giants should do, that is it's going to be very good for the offensive line. So that's for this pick. That's scenario 1. Scenario 2, I'd be happy with either or. And then the next one is going with the edge, David Jabo out of Michigan. This guy is a beast. I mean, out of Michigan, he is an absolute stud. He fits the New York Giants scheme perfectly. There's no question. I mean, this guy's unbelievable. He's got 11 sacks to this point in the season, 5 forced fumbles. That is, I mean, his numbers are unbelievable. The guy's 6'5", 250. There's just a whole lot he could do. He could bring pressure. He can do a lot. So that would be a very good pick there. He's a guy who maybe a lot of people see, make it, a lot of people say, that's a bit of a reach there at 13, but I don't think so. I think he's, as we get closer to the draft, I think he's going to move up people's boards as they start to watch him. I mean, the guy's a stud. So I really like David Jabo. So he's a potential guy at that pick. If they go either one of those 2 ways with that pick, I'd be very happy. And then at 36, this is one of my favorite prospects in the draft. I absolutely love this pick, and that's Christian Harris out of Alabama, the linebacker. The Giants, there's no question, they need some help at the linebacker spot. And if they get Harris and a Jabo, that's unbelievable. Harris is really, really good. He's 6'2", 235, the linebacker from Alabama. He's a very, very good young player. He was well coached throughout college, obviously, with Nick Saban. There's just a whole lot of good players that I really, really like from Alabama, realistically. But if the Giants got Christian Harris at 36, I'd be very happy. It would kind of solidify the linebacking spot, and you could have a bit more freedom, potentially cut a guy like Blake Martinez and save some money. Let's get to pick number 67, and I love Ed Ingram here, the offensive guard, the guard out of LSU. This guy's a very, very good offensive lineman, and I think if you can get him at this point in the draft, that's a very good spot. And, early third round for Ed Ingram at LSU. They have some very, very good players. They've developed some very good players over the years. Ed Ingram would definitely help, and potentially if you draft him, you could play him at right guard. There's a whole lot you could do. It gives you flexibility on the line. He could come in, step up, and potentially play right away, or you can make him wait a bit. There's a whole lot you could do here, but I really like the pick of Ed Ingram at number 67. And then at 84, I absolutely love the defensive tackle Tyler Davis out of Clemson. This pick to me, this player is really good. He's been around for quite a bit. Back when Joe Burrow was with LSU and they were versing in those big games, he was going right after Joe Burrow. He's 6'2", 300 pounds. I really, really like him out of Clemson, and I think he would be very good for the New York Giants. The defensive tackle's definitely a need for the Giants. We got to get some pressure, and Tyler Davis to me is a really good player. And if we can get him at this pick, I'd be ecstatic. He's a great player out of Clemson. He would help out in terms of depth on the D-line. He'd bring some pressure, and he's definitely a guy who could be very beneficial to the New York Giants. At pick 110, Rasheed Walker, the offensive tackle, Penn State. The Giants, the offensive line's abysmal. That's why I'm taking so many offensive linemen in this, realistic dream scenario. The Giants absolutely need offensive line help, whether that's depth or guys that could step in right away like an Evan Neal or Tyler Linderbaum. But Rasheed Walker is just, I guess you could, he's a project, and you hope he pans out. That's kind of what you're looking for in terms of these later picks. You're not asking them to step in right away and make an impact. If they do, it's great, but you're not expecting that out of these types of players. But I'd really like at 110, Rasheed Walker, the offensive tackle out of Penn State. At 146, this would be an absolute steal if this guy's still standing up there. But in the mock, on the website I used, he was there. That is the Georgia wide receiver, George Pickens. This guy is unbelievable to me, in my opinion. I really like George Pickens. And it seems he's 6'3". Let's start off with that. He's a big target. But it seems like the Giants always take a Georgia Bulldog in the draft. They took Azeez Ojulari, they took Andrew Thomas, they took Lorenzo Carter. They've always taken Georgia Bulldogs, so they're probably going to take one here at some point throughout this draft. Georgia's got one of the best defenses in the country, so if you end up with a player on defense from them, you better be happy. George Pickens is another great player for them. They have Nakobe Dean. There's just so many players. You could list them all day. I love that Georgia Bulldog team. But George Pickens is a guy who He's coming off a pretty big injury, but he's put up some numbers in his past couple of years. But the Giants, everyone thought, they weren't going to need wide receivers. After what they did, they drafted Tony, they signed Galladay. But at the end of the day, Slayton isn't what we thought he was. He was actually awful. And Sterling Shepard, now that he tore his Achilles, it seems very likely that the Giants will cut him and save the $5 million or $4 or $5 million, whatever it is. So don't be surprised if the Giants bring in a wide receiver in rounds 4 to 6, somewhere in that range. George Pickens would be an absolutely terrific pick for the New York Giants. And I love the Georgia Bulldog product. The wide receiver, George Pickens, 6'3", 200 pounds. He's definitely a great wide receiver, and I'd be very, very happy with him in a New York Giants uniform. I didn't really mention I could see the Giants taking a tight end somewhere in this draft, mainly because Evan Ingram's going to be gone, more than likely. Kyle Rudolph's going to be cut. That leaves with Caden Smith, so they're definitely at some point in the offseason going to bring in a tight end, whether that's in the draft or free agency. We'll see about that. But the next player at 173 is Wanya Morris, the offensive tackle, Oklahoma Sooner. This guy's big, and this guy is someone that, a lot of Giants fans have probably heard his name before. I mean, he's been around for quite a bit. He totally makes sense at this pick. I mean, like I said, more depth to that offensive line, it's never going to hurt. So, the guy's 6'5", 315. He's huge. He was a former Tennessee player. He transferred to Oklahoma, and he's currently a Sooner. So I'd be really happy with Wanya Morris, the offensive tackle, if they can get him at some point. I really, really like this player in terms of depth. And like I said, they're mainly projects at this point, especially on the offensive line. But definitely a guy who could pan out. You see flashes in college. I really, really would be happy with Wanya Morris. And then at 182, Ellis Brooks, the linebacker out of Penn State. If you take a look at Penn State's the linebacker they just produced, Micah Parsons, the guy's an absolute stud. There's no question about it. It sucks that he's a Dallas Cowboy. It makes me sick to my stomach, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. Ellis Brooks, he's 6'1", 240, and at 182, if you can get him here, absolutely you try. Over the course of his Penn State career, he has 5.5 sacks and 15 tackles for loss. So definitely something to build on there out of Ellis Brooks. And if you can get him late in the draft, it would definitely be good. But I think the linebacking spot's another position the Giants kind of got to kind of attack. You saw Tay Crowder, Mr. Irrelevant, and he comes in and makes an impact. He's actually been a pretty good player for the Giants. So, these are important picks, even though they're late. So I'd really, really like Ellis Brooks, linebacker out of Penn State, at number 182. And then with the final pick, number 225, we need a punter. And the best one in this draft is Jake Camarda, the Georgia punter, another Georgia Bulldog. Riley Dixon sucks. He's the worst player in the NFL. I could punt better than that guy. He punts the ball 15 yards. He is terrible. He cost the Giants points. With the field position he leaves the defense with, it's a disgrace. The guy should not have a job. He should be flipping hamburgers. He's terrible. Giants absolutely need to get another punter. They should draft one, and I think they will with this pick. And if they don't, they're going to bring one in free agency. He's going to be cut. You're going to save $3 million. The guy's a piece of junk. I don't know how. I'm not sure how. Who in their right mind would pay Riley Dixon $3 million? It's beyond me. But at the end of the day, he's going to be gone. Jake Camarda will be perfect at this pick. You got to take a punter, and this is the cheapest option, so this makes the most sense. The Georgia Bulldog punter, Jake Camarda, at 225. He was actually named the SEC Special Teams Player of the Year, so he's clearly a good punter and a lot better than Riley Dixon. That's for damn sure. I mean, 90% of the people watching this video will be a better punter than Riley Dixon. So we got to get that guy out of New York, and it's going to happen. They're going to save $3 million on a guy who shouldn't be making $3 million. But that's all I got in this video, guys. You guys let me know down below in the comments section your thoughts on this realistic dream draft scenario for the New York Giants in 2022. I think I kept it pretty realistic. I attacked the offensive line. We need to do that in the draft. Linebacker, pretty big need. We should do that. Edge, same thing. David Jabo, I'd be really happy with him. You guys let me know all that good stuff down below in the comments section. I appreciate all the support. Happy New Year. Sorry for going so long in this video, but that's all I got. And in the video, you guys leave a comment down below. Like the video and subscribe to the channel if you guys. We'll see you guys on the next video. Let's go Giants.